Lexy Delorme. Welcome to the Bookaholic podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, and we are talking to you from Paris, France. Yay!
Oui, oui.
One of my favorite cities in the world. I'm so jealous. I wish I was over there,
I've been
just
living here for
walking
6 years now.
around. Oh, wow. That is fantastic. Wow. Okay, since we were talking about Paris, let me get into that little part right quick. So,
Okay.
how is it to be an expat? What is that, and how does that inspire your writing?
Really does. But I have to go a little bit back because the reason I'm an expat is because I always was. I grew up in a military
Oh,
family, and so
okay.
we moved. I never lived anywhere growing up more than 2 years, but it was
All
mainly
right.
within the US. And I also lived in Hawaii for 4 years growing up.
That
And
was a
then
hard assignment.
so rough, so rough. Yeah.
Mm.
And then we went through, I was born in California, Texas, Rhode Island, Hawaii, New Orleans, and then to North Carolina, where I went to high school. Then I
When
went to
where I'm located,
exactly. I went to UNC for law
like
school.
myself.
Yep, it's the UNC girls. We're great. And
Absolutely.
then I got a job doing international startup work for a bank. And
Oh,
then I basically went out, did new country entry work for South Africa, for Spain, for France, and for China, for Shanghai,
wow.
and opened up new countries. Did for the bank, did mergers, did de novos, did wholly owned subsidiaries, a whole bunch of things. And then my parents were getting older, so I came back home. But as I came back
Mhm.
home, I met a French man at my work. And I said, I'm tired of working with French people because I've been working with French people. And my boss was like, oh, no, he's great. And then 3 years later, we were married. Yeah, because I was on the legal side of the house and he was on the business side of the house. So it was nature to argue. And we figured we did that. So
Okay.
we just do that on a regular basis, right? Long term.
Absolutely. Of
Moved to
course.
California. My first son was born in Virginia. And then we moved to
Okay.
California. And then he got a job doing basically working for a bank as an international manager. And I decided I was not going to take the bar everywhere we moved. So I started writing. And it started out for me doing travel writing. So I wrote for Bonjour Paris, and a few
Oh,
other places doing travel writing. In Hong Kong, I wrote for Playtimes. And when I moved to London a few years in 2015, I decided I'm going to start doing fiction because I have I've always been written short stories. That's the one thing that's been the same in all of my jobs, which is I
wow.
I wrote. So my undergrad was in the sciences, and then I went to, but all of it's writing. I did legal writing, did science writing,
That's right.
and oh yeah, and when I was young, I was in a band, and we had a video on MTV in the middle of the night one night. I won't say what it is, but and so I wrote and did music too. Just saying,
Absolutely.
not giving any that's bad here. Anyway.
I love it.
So I decided that I wanted to try actually doing a longer form. And it took me literally probably 6 years to craft the world. So it's a
Oh,
series built
yes.
in full world building. A lot went into
Yes.
this.
Yes, I can see that because you do an amazing job across genre, which we're
Yeah.
going to really dig into in just a few minutes. So let's go back. Again, you are a recovering attorney,
Yes, I'm a
recovering
recovering
lawyer,
attorney. You never
and
get out of it like a disease.
I've had so many guests on this channel who are or have been recovering attorneys and they turn to writing. There must be something there. You got your John Grishams and maybe even Scott Turow, I think, was a recovering attorney. But anyway, it just seems to be a natural crossover for a lot of people. So,
I
uh,
worked in the legal department I was in. I worked with a lot of people who had been artists before and then they went
oh,
into legal. And what
oh,
happens, yeah, what happens is so I did music and stuff. So what happens, we're all doing
mhm.
this stuff and we're realizing I'm not going to get any money with this when we're first doing
Right,
that. And we go,
right.
okay, what do I have going for me? I'm smart. Okay. I took the LSAT and we all ended up in the legal profession. And I don't know a whole lot of lawyers that are actually happy. So you
Yeah,
do it for a while and as a legal jobs, I had a good one, but it's
right.
then when we get a chance to get away from it, when we've earned enough money, when we've had enough experience, we're like, okay, what can I do now to go back to that thing that I love so much and that's always infused my life with meaning? And then we do
Right.
this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your depth of life, your depth of living has given you a very rich experience to knowing about different cultures, even in the United States, where its state has a kind of
Oh
different
God, yeah.
culture.
They don't realize that in
Yeah,
Europe. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, yes, because they see us as the whole
Mhm.
United States and think one thing. But so you've had a very rich life. Now, when you were younger, I'm sure, and when your family was moving around and you couldn't make concrete friends for very long before there
Right.
was any social media, you probably
Exactly.
didn't feel that way. But that's what it has evolutionized into. And that's where I see, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that's what I see. You have this ability, and I really will say to you, I don't think I've interviewed anyone today on my channel who has done this cross genre and to this degree and can keep up with all of this. I don't
Mhm.
think I've ever had anybody to do this. So this is something I really want to dive into
Sure. Mm.
because it's definitely genius. And one of the audiences I do talk to are also people who are aspiring writers, because avid
Mhm.
readers a lot of the times are
Absolutely.
aspiring writers. Okay.
Right.
So you said it just a few minutes ago that it took you 6 years to create the world. And I've
Yeah.
had some book coaches on this channel. One, a guy that really specialized in only fantasy world building, because that's the main area where you'd have to build a world is in fantasy. But tell us about your process over the course of 6 years
Mm.
of building this world.
So it started a bit small. So it started with I had characters in my head, right? I had people that I had crafted in my head just from news stories or hearing something, right? And a few of them I liked so much that I wanted to find a space for them.
Wow.
And I was always a reader as well. And I read cross genre. I read a bunch of different things. I was a big fan.
Mhm,
Watership Down was one of my favorite books, very fantasy.
mhm.
I read horror. I read H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King. I read I read all the cheesy romance, teenage romance novels when I read Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, I did too. I
Yeah,
read the whole thing
yeah, the
and
series.
watched
Yeah,
the Lifetime movies.
exactly. It's like we look at you look now at the Gen Zs and they're like coddled with the oh we only want empathy books. We read this stuff. Like
Absolutely.
we were traumatized by
Absolutely.
this.
Stephen King.
Yeah. So I used all of those things. I used the the things that I had loved in characters and I use it to combine characters. And then how I created the world is I had a mindset that one of the reasons I want to write is that I have seen a lot of beautiful and interesting things. I have
Yes,
experienced a lot of things that maybe people haven't experienced.
that's
And
true.
and what I decided I wanted to do is capture those moments in books so I can
Mm,
share them and they don't die when I die, right?
that's right.
So
That's
this is part of what the world building thing is for me, crafting. And also, they say write to answer your own questions. And this series, which is a long series, it's 8 books long. I've written all
Ooh,
of them. Some are in various stages of edit. The first 4 are out. The fifth one will come
mhm.
out this fall, and the
Okay.
others are done, but in various stages of edit. My
Wow.
what the question I'm answering for myself through the end is what is consciousness?
Mm,
The big questions. How does
that's a
love
huge
play?
question.
Yeah, how does love play into this? And so that, and then to do this, I crafted different stories, and this kind of gets into the books, but the first 3 books of the series are can be read in any order.
It
No
can be
order
read in
required.
any order.
Yep,
Okay.
no order
Okay.
required. All of them are
But yet,
paranormal.
but there's the same characters in the three.
No, this is what we're getting to. No.
Oh, because they're in the same world.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
what happens is all these 3 books have paranormal and romance, but they also have a subgenre as well. So Kaio is a paranormal romance, but it is also a legal fiction. And it works with
Okay.
the themes of appearance versus reality.
Okay.
It has in it a woman meets someone who appears to be a late teenager, and clearly is not. And
Okay.
all of this is in with a legal mystery as well. The second book, which is called Bright Midnights, is a
Hmm.
paranormal romance, but also a coming of age novel, high school
Yes.
setting US, right?
Yes.
High
Yes.
school in North Carolina.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And it's YA.
It's YA, yeah. And
Wow.
the third book you'll love was actually set in North Carolina. It is called Fanning
Mhm.
Fireflies. It is a paranormal romance, but also historical fiction set in the 1940s and World War II. And it
Mhm.
is partially a family story for me. I put stuff with my family in it. And it's the story of a poor white woman living in the South who works in a cigarette factory, who works the draft office on the weekends and ends up processing an African American soldier who she falls in love with.
Oh,
And
wow.
all of the stuff that comes from that.
Wow.
So, and
That
all of, yeah, yeah. That book's going on book tour in a few weeks, I think. But,
absolutely.
and then all of those books, all those characters, all these stories come together in a fourth book called Ghosting Academy. And that is a psychological thriller.
With VR technology,
Yep.
elite agents and spiritual unraveling.
Yep.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. I'm just like taken aback. They all come together in Ghosting Academy.
And it does make
Now,
sense.
oh my goodness.
Yep.
Okay. Now let me ask you. So you're saying that some of these are paranormal. So sometimes I think I mentioned Stephen King just in
Mm.
passing a few minutes ago. So I used to read all of his books, but then I was like, I can no longer read this type of book anymore.
Mm.
So for those readers who can't see themselves reading paranormal, can you tell us a little bit about your paranormal activity in these books to maybe it's not like horror, but how is that infused?
So in my books, the horror is only the horror people do to other people.
Ah,
And
okay.
there is some of that in spades, I will tell you. But all my books are urban fiction, so there are paranormal elements in it, and
Right.
there's no vampires, there's no
Right.
werewolves, there's
And
no, yeah,
witches casting
no,
spells.
nothing
Okay.
like that. But you do have spirits, and you have
Yes.
ghosts, and you have different types of spirits. But it's not. It isn't hardcore. It isn't hardcore horror. It starts getting a
Gotcha.
bit more horror in Ghost Academy, but I will tell you, check your trigger warnings, because as I
Okay.
said, this is what people do to people, and
Yes.
there's a lot of that in this. And there's a lot of people who have been abused, like in Kaio, Sarah, starting out. I actually based her on a number of my friends who had been in
Okay.
relationships, and she is in an abusive relationship when the book starts,
Got
and is so deeply entrenched in an abusive relationship, she doesn't even see it as abusive. She just sees it as she's not worth anything.
Ah,
And so this book is about her coming out of that and
okay.
seeing a
Oh,
world
wonderful.
seeing a world that exists that is not just beyond what she thought of herself, but beyond what she knew, for the good and bad. Basically, the scope of her world went from this to this,
Mm,
with it's the spectrum. The bad gets much worse, the potential for bad, but also the good gets much better. So the creation and destruction there. So this is in this the book of Kaio, it's all really about appearance versus reality. So what is being presented as being good and right is actually
mhm,
not. And what is
mhm,
presented
mhm.
as this isn't good, this isn't right, is actually okay or
Right.
good or loving, right? So it's very
Yes.
much looking at that. And the people that I found that had some issues with this book, because what an appearance of an age gap, right? The
Mhm.
truth is, the character of Kyle, although looking about 16, 17, is 136 years old. And,
Oh,
and it
okay.
becomes
Wow.
pretty apparent really fast for her
Right.
because she's super smart, very trained in this stuff. But
Right.
there's a connection between them, and there's a connection that
Okay.
goes on from past lives as well.
Ah,
So
got you,
there's
got
a
you.
lot of stuff in that. But she has to learn how to step up, how to value herself, how to value doing something that is good and right. And I will tell you that the legal bit in that, the
Mhm.
legal plotline, is partially something that I dealt with and the reason I left family law.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Wow.
So I do bring my life into this and things that I've experienced. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and
And
the
as you should, it's
I feel it's hiding my life and things like I would never be bold enough to write an autobiography. Right? No, I just hide it in stuff. I'm not that brave. But
understand.
it also allows you to give voice to people you wanted to give voice to. So in the
Mhm,
third book, Fanning Fireflies, the one that's set in the South,
mhm,
um,
mhm.
there's I put characters in this were people I knew and people that, for example, one of the characters, I gave her a good ending because she was a good friend of mine and she got me my
Okay.
first job and she actually got killed by people who came into her house and killed her and stuffed her body into an oil bin.
Gosh.
Yeah, and she was a beautiful woman and a wonderful person, and she didn't
Oh,
have a chance to have a life. So I wanted
oh,
to give her a chance to have a life. And so I put
yes,
her in this. I put
yes.
my uncle, who was a stutterer, shows up as a character in this. So this one is very much a lot of my friends and family. And it does talk about the really horrible systemic race, not systemic, just awful racism in the South at that time.
Absolutely.
How the separation was driven so much by the powers in control.
Yes,
There was a lot of cultural commonality between the poor working class white people and the African Americans, but they were
absolutely,
kept separated.
absolutely. As
And
they are today, as
as they
they
are
are
today.
today.
No, that's
Mhm,
exactly what they're doing. What people,
mhm.
we won't talk too political, but people in power, right? What they want to do is those who actually achieve their wealth by having wealth before and just investing and having this history of wealth.
Right,
They are different from literally everybody else. Everybody who's
right.
working for a living. We're all pretty
Absolutely.
much the same. And
Right,
we all have the same
right,
goals, the ways, and across the world, right? When
right.
I went to China, I
Absolutely.
remember thinking that first time I went to China, I went by myself. It was the day after we bombed their embassy accidentally. I was like, I'm going to die, right? Here I am. I'm going to die here. And I
Yeah,
walked
absolutely.
through the airport, the guys in the communist outfits, and I was like, oh yeah, they're taking me. It's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I get out, and
Here's
the
my
very
blue American passport.
they're seeing me, and I'm like, damn, I'm screwed. And so, but I get out, make it through, and I go, and the first thing that happens is this little girl comes up to me and says in English, "My grandmother would like me to practice English with you." And that was it. It's just people want, and she wanted it because it was good for her to learn English better,
Yes,
to get, and
yes,
people just want to have their family, take care of people they love. We all have these very basic needs and very
yes,
basic wants. And it's
yes.
when people start getting that thing for power, that's
Right.
when things start going real wrong. And there we
Abs
are.
absolutely, and you have me right there. I will not challenge you on that at all. It's a movie that comes to mind. It's called The Free State of Jones. If you've
Which I know
never
that.
seen it,
Mhm.
check it out. It stars Matthew McConaughey, and that points out everything you just said. Free State of Jones, Matthew McConaughey. Check it out. So, now you've got the 5th book that's coming out this fall, and what's the name of that book?
Limerence.
Limerence,
Yeah.
okay, and so what is that? This is the Limerent Series.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So limerence is the type of falling in love that people do that people consider crazy. It's like when you meet someone and it's like you're just overwhelmed and it makes you nuts. Vincent Van Gogh cutting off the ear stuff, right?
Yes.
But when I looked at this, I've questioned that because of the nature of attractions, right? Is it always that, or is that something that's almost chemical and biological? There's a lot of physics in this series as well, but you don't even have to really think about it. It's basically told to you, so you don't have to worry, people don't have to worry about it that much. But the second book, Bright Midnights, is about attraction in all of its forms, good, bad, and ugly. And this book, Limerence, coming out, is seeing the other side of these stories. So up to this point, you've seen these characters. The point of
Mhm.
view characters have been Emily, who's a 17-year-old girl in Bright Midnights, Sarah, who's a woman in her 40s, and Veronica, who is a woman in her early 20s.
Okay.
And and Ghost Academy is back to Emily's point of view, but when she's older, she's like in her 30s.
Okay.
And you've seen the paranormal stuff that's been around them, shadowing them, things that happen. You learn a bit more about it in Bright Midnights. But in
Mhm.
Ghosting Academy, you learn about these agencies involved in controlling power in the world.
Ah,
And so there's one that they're all encountering. And this one says this other group is evil. And Limerence is showing you the other side, right?
Yes.
And those characters from Limerence show up in Fanning Fireflies. You see them a little bit. There's a lot of crossover in my books. I
Right.
have spreadsheets all over the place of setups and
Wow.
payoffs.
I
And
can't.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
you
I
must
can't
read
even
Fanning Fireflies.
imagine.
You're a North
Yes,
Carolinian.
definitely. You said you can read the first three in any order,
Yeah, and
and
also
so
they're on Kindle Unlimited right now.
oh, okay, okay. I think I've got my Kindle. I think I'm going. I'm really intrigued by fanning fireflies, definitely. And so the other books that are in the editing process,
Mm.
give us just a little overview of how those three are going to come to play, and will that in your series?
So in the series will end in the eighth book, but
Okay.
there will be, because this is a full world and because you meet a
Mhm.
lot of people in it, there are side stories that come from their stories. So right now I'm actually writing a new book about one of the characters that you see in Ghosting Academy. It's her backstory.
Right.
So I'm
Okay.
an author who everybody I put on page, because I'm neurotic, I have thought I know their full backstory. I can tell. I'm not making crap up. And if I don't know,
Yeah.
I will tell
Yeah.
you I don't know. But that's I could write in this world for literally 20 years. There's that much
Yes.
in it.
Yes. It
So
took you 6 years, so definitely make the most of this world.
yep,
Absolutely.
yep.
Oh,
But
wow.
I
I
can
can
tell you
imagine.
I can tell you for the next three books, I can't tell you too much because I'd
Right.
be giving too much away.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you the point of view
Right.
characters. In Limerence that comes out in the fall, the point of view character is a person you hadn't had the floor before, which is Dante, who is a ghost.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
and he's so much more a ghost and so much more. He actually was when he died. He was in Carthage and he was from Tunisia originally. So he
oh, we're going ancient times.
yeah, and then Kara is his partner, and she was actually from that same kind of time, right? And so they're the point. He's the point of view, and she has created this thing. And then for the book after that, it's called Mirrored Lands. The point of view is Emily again, who's the one from Bright Midnights, but also a character I can't tell you about because it's really a surprise. And
Okay.
then the next book after that is called Outliers, and it is the point of view of Sarah from Caio again,
Mm,
and Dante.
okay.
And then the last book is called Verite, and it's got 3 points of view, but I can't really talk about those. But that's the end. So
Wow. Wow. I
I do
just
stick the
love
landing.
this. Okay. I just love this. This is very fascinating to me. And so I'm sure all of these will be very fascinating to my listeners and my blog readers because you could literally take one and move on if you
Mm,
wanted to, because the
yeah.
first 3 are not to be read in order or anything like
Ooh,
that. But
this.
oh, that's what a beautiful cover.
These are the
Oh,
pretty
I
shiny
love
covers. By the
that.
way, I will be at New York Comic Con this year.
Oh, really? When
Yep.
is that?
It is October 9th through 12th.
Okay.
And this is Fanning Fireflies, the pretty cover.
Oh, another beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh
And Bright
my. I
Midnights.
love these new covers. I
Yeah.
love them. Oh, beautiful. And the edges. Have you seen the books with the beautiful edges?
Yes, I
Oh,
thought about that, but I haven't done it yet. So
yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. All
I
right. So
like
now
shiny
I'm
stuff.
going to go get all all your books. As if I'm not reading like 8 books right now at the same time.
I admire that a lot.
This is why this channel is called Bookaholic. I have a problem, I'm telling you. Lexi, thank you so much for joining me today. I think your book and thought processes about your book are totally fascinating.
Thank you.
But
Thank
of
you.
course, you came from UNC Chapel Hill, so
Yes.
I expect you to be brilliant. And so what we'll do is we'll have in our podcast show notes and in the video description box on YouTube, we'll have your information, links to your books, etc. Lexi, thank you so much for joining me from Paris, France.
Thank you
Love
so
it.
much for having me.
Thank you.